Hello and welcome to Dead Letter Movie Chat, episode 3. 3.
Three.
Recorded May 13th, 2014. I'm
Hi,
Tim.
I'm Andrew.
And we're going to talk today about two movies. We're going to do something a little different. These are not new movies. We're kind of off the beaten track. We thought we would give a little insight to you, our audience, all three of you, uh, uh, about kind of where we come from in terms of our taste in movies. So my colleague here had the brilliant idea. Well, why don't you tell the folks?
Okay. Well, Tim and I were looking at what was coming out, and there wasn't anything we really wanted to do, like go see. So, it's the summer, yay. Anyway, so I thought it would be cool if we both picked what we would call an A plus movie that the other had not seen. So I selected for Tim this 40s film noir called Laura, and he picked for me the man who shot Liberty Valance. And do you want to go first, Tim, and talk about your movie, or do you want me to introduce it first? And
How about you go first this time?
okay, with Laura or with Liberty Valance?
How about you introduce Laura and
Okay,
then yeah,
okay. Yeah,
spitballing here, folks. Bear with us.
sorry about that. So Laura is this Otto Preminger movie that he's a director, and he also directed Anatomy of a Murder some years later. It's a film that is at its core a murder mystery. Ultimately, the film starts off kind of going one direction, and then halfway through goes a different direction. The film stars. It nominally stars Gene Tierney as Laura, but really I'd say the star of the film is actually Dana Andrews as this detective named McPherson, who has come in to find out about a murder and then finds out the corpse is not who people thought it was. Clifton Webb is also in it as a very snippy old, just this snippy old man that has made Laura, Gene Tierney, a protege in his life. And also in the picture is Vincent Price as Laura's fiance, Shelby Carpenter. This is I think this may be the first of 5 movies they made together. This being probably the most well-known one of the 5. The other one after that would probably be Leave Her to Heaven and then Dragonwyck. But yeah, I think it's an amazing film. It's a total noir melodrama. A great detective story, great reveals, great uses of flashback, a fabulous use of how a character can obsess over something. And this is like a few people really obsess over a lot of things in this. Well, specifically one thing, but I don't know. There's a lot that you don't want to give away in a review. Anyway, they all pretty much obsess about Laura, but there are, of course, other obsessions involved. And the big reveal at the end of the film is, although you may or may not see it coming given the fact that it's the 40s and things were a little bit more obvious back then, it still is amazing how it's all done. The performances are great. The film is shot fabulously. The music is good. It is a movie that, for me, actually gets better every time I watch it. So that's why I would call it an A-plus movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I was not at all familiar with Otto Preminger until having watched this movie just a few days ago. But yeah, I love the atmosphere, the use of the black and white for the ambiance and the lighting, and I love the hard-boiled nature of the detective character McPherson. And I did a double take because I did not recognize Vincent Price in this movie at first because he is so young, and for
And no
some reason
mustache, you know?
no mustache,
Yeah.
and for some reason I can't really explain, I never seem to remember him really being tall like that.
Oh, yeah, he's a tall dude.
Yeah, he was just towering over everybody else in this movie. But no, really great performances all around. Yeah, like you said, this was a great noir detective melodrama. Not is it wasn't as hard edged as, say, like the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, it's
The
not quite.
more soft edge to it, which is fine. I like the variation there. But yeah, I could see noticing all kinds of new, different little things about this every time you watch the movie. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and thanks for the recommendation. I'll second that.
Mm.
Uh, Movie's on Amazon Prime streaming right now. If you folks have that, you can catch it there. So so there's that.
Yeah.
So okay.
Well, I guess what grade would you give it? I guess.
Me, uh I don't know if I would quite give it an A plus. Some of the twists caught me. I mean, a twist is supposed to catch you by surprise, and they
Yeah.
did that. But some of them, one in particular, felt just a little disjointed to me. The way they handled the transition from the before to the after the
Mm.
when the twist was being set up.
Yeah.
Um, Specifically, it's at one point when it's about midway through when the detective falls asleep.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I I was expecting something very different just there. The way the camera work was set up, and
Mm.
so that's that's probably I don't know. I'm not really gonna detract from it
Good.
for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I would give this movie an A. Again, bearing in mind, as I said, product of its time. Yeah, very much in the right ways. So yeah.
Yeah.
So my pick for Andrew, I tend to watch more science fiction than Andrew does, but picking something that I would really call an A plus that Andrew hadn't seen, well, that was a bit of a challenge. So I thought, yeah,
I used to work in a video store.
yeah.
So I had a lot of access.
And all the really A plus science fiction movies tend to be classics, not just of the genre but
Yeah.
of cinema.
Hmm.
And a lot of the others are good,
Good. Yeah.
but so that got me thinking, where else can I go? And I thought, hey, westerns. He doesn't watch westerns very much. So I thought, what's a good one, a really really good one? So I chose The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, directed by John Ford, starring John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, with Lee Marvin as Liberty Valance. This is a movie about Jimmy Stewart as a young lawyer who's traveling west to hang his shingle and make his fortune out in the wild American West to tame it, to bring law and order, and the downright mean and nasty, no good character Liberty Valance, who terrorizes everybody and everything around except for John Wayne, who has a small ranch. Uh, so this is, as the title suggests, a story about the man who shot Liberty Valance, and how the West came to be tamed, at least this small part of it, and some of the smaller scale, more intimate human drama around that. Some of the interaction, the relationship between John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, and oh crumb, who was the girl?
Vera Miles.
Vera Miles. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's probably been a lot longer than
Yeah.
since I watched this movie, but
Well, she's in Psycho. That's why I remember.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's Vera Miles.
yeah, fair enough. But no, really wonderful movie. Again, great use of black and white for lighting effects and atmosphere, in my opinion. Yeah, there's really nothing about this movie that doesn't work. You kind of get a little bit of sense that it was shot less expensively than some other westerns around the same time. I mean, it looks like a studio lot. It's not a location shoot really.
Which John Ford was prone to doing.
He really was. But this kind of took a different track, and I'm perfectly okay with that. It didn't in my mind take anything away from the movie or the story it was telling. So that's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. What did you think?
Okay, so I first so when I first put the movie in the DVD player, I was I was kind of like surprised, like, oh, this is in black and white. Oh, okay. Because like because this was a movie that was after The Searchers, so I figured it would be in color, and it wasn't, and that's I mean like I loved it, but I made Tim watch a black and white movie, so that wasn't the problem. So I spent a good chunk of the movie wondering why is this in black and white, and a part of me was thinking, well, maybe it was a budget thing because clearly they're shooting this more on a studio backlot than in Monument Valley, like he was prone to do. But then the more I got into the movie, the more I realized that it actually is important for the tension of the film. It's There's a lot of big ideas in this movie. That's kind of what John Ford really wanted to do in a lot of his movies. The idea of the West and the taming of the West. I mean, we have Jimmy Stewart coming from the East, and he's like this city guy with his like tameness, and we got John Wayne, who is this frontiersman who is, although fairly docile, has his pimped up rage that comes out from time to time in the film, and it was interesting to see. It's a film of dialectic and dichotomy. I mean, that's not to use those 10-cent, pretentious film major words, but there they are. That's kind of what's going on in this movie. It's a film with a lot of thought put into it, and the use of black and white photography actually makes it better because if it was in color, it would have kind of detracted from that, I think. Putting everything in kind of a gritty black and whiteness makes it a much more tense film. It almost has a noir feel to it because of that. I actually enjoyed the performances a lot. And Tim is right. I don't usually watch westerns that much. Some years ago, when No Country for Old Men and Brokeback Mountain came out, I thought I should watch more westerns. But I kind of steered clear from John Wayne movies because I find him kind of hokey and I can't take him seriously. That said, I was able to stand John Wayne very well in this movie. I thought it was very, very interesting. And I mean, he's John Wayne, so he's playing a character that only John Wayne would play. So his performance is very good in that sense. And despite the fact that he says pilgrim a lot, I didn't find it very hokey at all. But Jimmy Stewart is very good in this. Lee Marvin, is total awesome self, and as he always is. And Vera Miles is also very good in the film. The things that I like about it is that so the whole film is about the man who shot Liberty Valance, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I say this, there is ambiguity to it. There is some questions about it that comes up and everything. I mean, like, you could watch the movie, you could probably change your mind every time you watch the film, and maybe, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. I have my own feelings of how I think the movie ended, but I think another person would feel another way. And the fact that it's black and white actually makes sense because although we think of things as black and white, like, literally black and white, the film is not in a monotone. The film is in grayscale. So there's a lot more gray to this. And I think that actually is really important to notice because it adds into the whole, well, what makes the West the West? What makes the West not the West anymore? What tames it? What makes a man? Things like that. There's a lot more gray to it than it is just black and white things. I don't know. I saw some really great themes in this film, and I thought it was actually really well made. And yeah, basically, I recommend it. I'm not a huge fan of westerns. My favorite western is probably Destry Rides Again with Jimmy Stewart, and Marlena Dietrich, who, if you ever watch Blazing Saddles, Madeline Kahn's character is making fun of Marlena Dietrich's character in Destry Rides Again. So, I mean, although I was aware of the language of the Western, I felt like this was probably an essential pick, especially when it comes to the works of John Ford, if not Westerns in general. It's probably, like, along with the Searchers and Stagecoach, they're probably the must-see of his. I mean, I've never seen Red River, and I imagine, at least I think he did that. Maybe he didn't. Anyway, that's supposed to be really good, but yeah. So I guess, like, when it comes to, like, the grade of the film, I would say it's definitely an A film. My only big qualm about the film is that Liberty Valance himself is kind of one-dimensional, but I also think that's stupid of me to care because, after all, it is sort of it's a Western. There's supposed to be a bad guy. do I really care that much about the backstory of the bad guy? I mean, like, there's all these, like, I don't know. It seems like a nit to pick, but to me, it's definitely an A film. I would definitely watch it again in the future. So, and yes, I recommend it. I don't think it's on any streaming services right now.
Yeah,
I got
not
this,
that I've found. Yeah.
not that I found. I got it from the library. So, yeah. You can also, I'm certain you can pick it up at any video store. It's one of those popular things, but I doubt it's in Redbox because they don't care about classic film.
That's true. That's true. They
Yeah,
don't.
they don't.
They care about reaching into your wallet, and that means new releases. So,
Yep.
uh, yeah, I'll talk a little more. Yeah, there, like you said, there are a lot of big themes in this film, yeah, and some of those are kind of side plots, like freedom of the press
Oh yeah, yeah.
and truth in politics and just all kinds of things. And lots of colorful characters, including the local newspaper editor, Liberty Valance's henchmen, who are just
Yeah. Lee
completely
Van Cleef.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lot of great stuff in this movie. You can kind of argue that Lee Marvin is Valance is kind of a cliche stereotype Western mustache twirling villain.
Kind
And,
of,
to,
yeah,
to,
but
to
not,
some extent
yeah,
he
to
he
some
is,
extent.
but I mean I think not to again get too pretentious here. I think that's kind of in some ways a metaphor for the larger theme of the film, that there is this wilderness and how is it going to be tamed? What
Right.
how are men going to approach that and deal with it?
Well, and since Liberty Valance is a tool for a bigger system in the film, like that kind of adds to it. Like, I mean, how is this frontier wilderness, like, I don't know what to call it, roughness, utilized by civilization? How will it be? How will it be? It's not tamed, but it's still being used. So that's kind of an interesting thing to think about as well. I'm sure there is some big BFI book or some film student wrote their large thesis about this film. Um,
It's probably been done.
it's probably been
There's
done.
there's a lot of meat to it
Hmm.
that you might not get on a first viewing. Like I was fairly young when I first saw this, and
Yeah.
I didn't recognize all those things in it then. But yeah, again, I think this is a film that ages really well, and you're going to pick up on more things with repeated viewings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I would call this an A to A plus movie. Gratified that you'd mostly agree with that as well. So, a little bit of housekeeping. It's been a while since our last video. We're gonna try and get into a little more of a regular rhythm. That
Yeah.
said, we've both of us got some things in the next week or two, but look forward in the not too distant future for our review of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my ticket. I'm going on Friday.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I will be in New York on Friday, so I don't know if I'm going. I may not see it till I get back, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So the one piece of feedback we've gotten by word of mouth from all three of our viewers is that maybe doing 3 movie reviews in a single video is a little too long. So we're still in an experimental phase. So we're gonna try maybe doing an individual review and a single shorter video going forward and see where that gets us.
Yep.
And yeah, that may give us a little more time to play and ramble about some weird tangents like we are often prone to do.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I expect when we talk about Godzilla, we'll talk about some of the old Godzilla movies
Yeah.
and
We'll try to keep it from. We'll try to make it not be a 40-minute video, folks.
yeah.
Although I could expound. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think we'll probably be looking more in the 15 to maybe 20 minutes.
yeah, that's what we're going to shoot for, folks. And we
And
appreciate
and
your
do them
patience.
more frequently. We do
Yes.
appreciate your patience. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.